How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And real quick, before we get into today's video, I just gotta ask you guys to be my John Connors. Help me defeat the machines, okay? Show the machines you mean business. And join the resistance. How you doing, guys? I hope y'all are doing good today. We're going to be going through and doing a top 5 video for Valheim on things I think new players need to know so that I can put some extra emphasis on some stuff that I've been finding out as I've been playing this week. And we've been in it for about 3 days and have 4 days and have about, 30, 35 hours in it right now. And we are probably going to be going live with it again tonight like we have the past couple of nights. So if you're free and you want to check that out, feel free to hit your boy up. I'm really enjoying doing the Valheim streams, and yeah, the game's just a lot of fun. So if you want to check that out, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this roadmap real quick before we get into our top 5. So this comes from, essentially, I want to say it was PC Gamer did an interview with one of the developers, and we got a little bit more information on some of this stuff. So the very first big update that we're going to be seeing to the game is going to be Hearth and Home. Now this is going to focus largely around adding new building items, adding some more food stuff, some more recipes. How you doing? I'm hoping that we get a lot more in the farming department with this update and everything. And there's also supposed to be activities in and around the house that they want to try and add with this. So we'll see where that goes. I'm pretty interested. I definitely hope we see improvements in the building area. There's a little bit of wonk right now, but still, I really enjoy it, even with a little bit of sketchiness. But if they're already adding more items to it, I like to see that confidence. I like to see that system getting built out even more because it's great. I love building stuff in this game, and I really want to go in and just kind of design a crazy base in creative mode on in a little world. But well, maybe for another day, another video. We'll see. We'll see. So after that one, the next big update we're going to be getting is Cult of the Wolf. Now, there's not a whole lot of information about what this is going to detail. The direct quote from the developer is, "It will be an update that focuses on exploration and combat, while hopefully some new fun and different encounters for the players." The way that I'm reading this is that this is going to be one of the first content patches, but it's not going to be some super crazy overarching story thing, but that they're going to essentially try and focus on adding some more to either the combat system, or they're going to be making some adventures for us in the mountains. I don't know. We're doing good in the Bronze Age right now. I haven't made my way up into the mountains. I freeze to death trying to go in that direction. So I'm excited to see what this adds, but I don't think this is going to be what we see like when they add Mistlands, which we'll get to in a little bit, which is like an all new biome. There'll be new bosses. I don't think it's going to quite be a content patch on that scale. Maybe something closer to like an event patch or something like that, while they also add and maybe tweak some stuff on the combat side. So definitely excited to see where that goes. After that one, we've got Update 3, Ships in the Sea. This is supposed to be adding ship customization as well as encounters on the sea, and I don't know if I want to say that with a smile on my face or look horrified, because there's already sea serpents out there, guys. You're not safe on the seas. You're never safe on the seas. If you feel fine just sailing across the ocean, you don't have the right amount of fear in your soul, okay? So I'm a little afraid of what they might add with this. Pro tip, don't take little rafts into big old ocean, guys. That's not even on the top 5 list for new players to know. That's a freebie I'm throwing in. Fear the ocean. Make sure you build a ship if you're doing some traveling. If you're just going to a little island over there, that raft's just fine, but, have the fear inside you. So I'm excited to see what will come with that patch, but there's also not a crazy amount of information on that one. So after that is Update 4, New Biome, Mistlands, and they actually go on to say, let me find the part in the actual interview real fast, because we essentially have 5 or 6 bosses in the game now, and when talking about Mistlands, they mention that there's going to be 9 biomes with 9 bosses in the finished version of the game. So we're still missing almost half of the bosses. I'm not sure how much further behind we are on biomes, because I don't think every biome has a boss tied specifically to it. First one you fight is Meadows. There's not really one for the Black Forest that I've gotten to yet. And then the Elder, which is the second boss you fight, is in Swamplands. So I'm not sure exactly, but this will be the, pretty beefier in terms of the content patch. So definitely excited to see that. Not anticipating that until somewhere in third or fourth quarter of this year. Maybe if things go well enough for them, we can see some more of that come out sooner. But for right now, I'm more than happy with what they've got slated for the year. And then they've also got a list of stuff that they would like to add to the game, but they're not really putting it in any specific order or any time reference of when to expect any of this stuff. But we've got multiplayer interactions, combat improvements, moon phases, tar pits. I'm definitely dying in those once they add them. Vendor inventory expansion. I like that. Sviltar Brigands. I'm hoping that just means new kinds of NPCs. Oop, nope. Stop it, Twitch. That's a bad Twitch. That is a very bad Twitch. I apologize for that. Don't DMCA me, Blizzard. I paused your BlizzCon because you stopped talking about stuff I cared about. Don't you do it again. Don't you? Okay. Now it's just picking on me. So, tar pits, vendor inventory expansion, the brigands, more unique locations, sandbox mode, and Munin? Is that going to be a, city or something? I'm guessing that's a name I should probably recognize from somewhere in either Viking history or Norse mythology, but we're pulling up zero, Jack, so we're just going to nod that and say, okay. But yeah, I like that. I think this is a pretty good roadmap. I don't think it's too over the top that we're going to see them have to deviate too far from it. And hopefully with all the success that this game has had, and they just hit 3 million players, which is insane. Congrats to you guys. You're killing it. So yeah, hopefully that's a good thing, and that gives them the ability to do more this year than they had kind of planned for. So we'll see. All right, guys. I think that pretty well covers that. Let's go ahead and get this image on out of here, and let's start talking about this top 5 list a little bit. So, oop, that's not the right thing. Excuse me. Number 5, and some of you might wonder why this isn't higher up on the list, but it's the important stuff and where to find it. Now, early game, you're going to need a lot of resources, and certain things are only in certain places, so it's kind of useful to start getting an idea of where all those things are as soon as possible. Real quick, to give you guys some of a rundown if you haven't seen anything else we've done, Flint is going to be near water, and essentially the meadows and forests, the level 1 areas. So all along this part would be a great place for me to be looking for flint. Now once you get into say the Black Forest, which is this tighter, darker grouping of trees that you can see over here on this side of the map, along the water there is where tin ore spawns. So you're seeing a little bit of a pattern, you know what I mean? Outside of that, you can find food, berries, and such all throughout the forests. Looking around the outsides of meadows is really good for that. They have a decent chance of spawning there or close to it in the edge of the woods. And then if there's any in the middle of the meadow, you'll see it and be able to go grab it while you're running around the outsides of it. Couple other things that are pretty important that start coming in after you've killed the first boss. Things like copper vines are a little bit hard to notice the first time that you're playing the game, because you would think that you're looking for a small node that is orangish or maybe greenish, because copper can turn green. It's not a little node. Forget every mining thing that you've seen in normal games where you're mining resources like that. Copper is in like these giant boulders that sit on top of the ground. If you're standing on something that feels like it's like the younger brother of Pride Rock and you're supposed to be holding up Mufasa, you might be in the right place. Look down at your feet. If you see yellow lines in it and the rock itself has a nice greenish to it, yeah, that's probably going to be copper, and it'll actually say it when you look at it and hover it, but it's super easy to miss as, you know, just a giant rock. Alright, so outside of that, that's a lot of the important stuff. Deer spawn in the meadows, boars are going to be in the more forested areas in the beginning, but outside of that, that's kind of the quick and dirty for all the early stuff. So number 4 on the list is going to be how ready is ready for progression. You might try and, well, okay, if you try and fight the first boss before you're actually ready, he does not despawn if he kills you. He's just in your world now. And you're probably going to just have to zerg him until you know, get that murder in. But if you're a little bit more careful of a player, you definitely want to get some flint axes, flint spears. You want to have a shield. You want to have leather armor. You might not necessarily, and we'll actually, that's another point. We'll get into upgradings later on the list. But there's going to be several different stages throughout the game where you may believe, I'm ready. That can come with the first boss, or it could come with the second boss. Now, after you finish the first one, you'll eventually have to go find your buddy, the Elder. And once you've gone into the Dark Forest and you've started getting some bronze items, you might start feeling a little bit brave. You might have all troll gear and have that 25% boost to your sneak. Boo, you still ain't ready. You still ain't ready to go charge in the Elder. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to build a ship and travel to a new place for an Elder. So you're probably going to want to have a good amount of resources, the ability to build portals, which means doing a lot of dungeons for the Surtling cores, which is something I probably could have mentioned in the important stuff and where to find it. Yeah, you find Surtling cores in the dungeons. You need that to be able to make a smelter. You need that to be able to teleport. And yeah, it's a good thing to go find your dungeons. But just keep preparing. Okay, if you think you're ready, just get a little bit more prepared, and then maybe a little bit more prepared. And there's no shame in getting there, realizing, oh god, I'm not ready, and leaving. That might happen to you very quickly when you go to the Elder and you land in the Swamplands for the first time, and something touches you, and you start losing all of your health to poison damage. Which, up in the game to that point, regular food that you either cook off the fire or berries and mushrooms you find on the ground will get you by just fine. Stops getting you by right about then. Then you kind of need to start working on some cooked food, which leads us into our third point. The most important thing for new players, or the third most important thing for players to understand, is how important food is. It is so very important. And you might recognize, let's pop up in the inventory. If you eat some food, some berries, your stuff will feel up, right? Well, I've got some cooked food here to show you the difference between what you would normally get from eating these 3 things and what it looks like when you eat cooked food. It is night and day. You see how big that bar is? That's a big old thicky bar, right? That's a lot bigger than it normally gets, huh? That ain't no blue pill. That's cooked food. And it's huge. So after you get some bronze stuff and everything, get your cauldron ready, start getting everything in line to start making cooked food, because it becomes so very important in terms of your stamina, being able to stand up in these bigger fights, or being in more dangerous areas and having higher health pools. You really need to start getting cooked food on your radar as soon as possible. Which might be a little while, because for a little while you're just like, oh, I'm starving, where's Barry? Life be like that, boo. Life be like that. And, yeah, your food is important. Food is very, very important. Eating just 3 regular things like cooked meat, some mushrooms, and berries is good to get you going in the beginning. But you need to start making some cooked food. That is where some endgame stuff is going to be at, boo. And the game never really tells you how much more impactful cooked food is. You have to kind of eat it for the first time and be like, holy, okay, got you. So, letting you guys know now, definitely something you need to be aware of. Second most important thing for new players to understand is upgrading your gear is very impactful. Now, if you're playing with a large group of people, this is probably going to ring less true because of how many resources you would have to gather for everybody to get all of their upgrades. But after you get to about like flint and above for tools and weapons, and then I would say trollhide and really bronze and above for armor. If you're playing by yourself and you are a godly hunter, and just have all the luck in the world, animals just come running out of the woods at you all the time, and you are literally drowning in deer skin and leather scraps from boar, you can probably upgrade your leather armor that you get, that you replace your rag clothes with. It makes a significant improvement. Increases the durability, increases the armor on it. When it comes to weapon, it increases the numbers that their modifiers are engaging with. So with things like, my bow, it is doing much better damage now than it was at its first range, and it was doing pretty good at the beginning. I'm gonna say that the fine wood bow's pretty nice. But upgrading this gear is very, very impactful. And it's worth a little bit of resources. Now, you don't want to go crazy from it or crazy with it at the very beginning when you just have stone stuff, when you just have the hide gear. Again, unless you just end up with an ungodly amount of animal skins. But the deer hide and the leather is used in all of the early game armor. So you're going to need that stuff for just not only that set of gear, but also your next sets of gear. So that's why I want to caution you guys on kind of waiting a little bit till you get your like second or third set of armor before you start really going crazy with upgrading it, or really your second set. And then weapons, as soon as you start getting above stone stuff and you start getting, your flint axe or the flint spear, definitely a solid thing to start putting a little bit of work in. And then for our most important thing, the thing that I would be a terrible person if I did not show you, we're going to have to do a little bit of running and see if we can find a friend. You know what? I think to our west is going to be the fastest way to find a friend to play with. So we're just going to do that. But it's the Parry System. And the Parry System is the most important thing that you can start figuring out in this game and getting good at, because it has a huge, let's also use the Ecthair buff so that we can run for longer and get there quicker. But it is so crazy how impactful it is. And it's essentially, you negate damage, you create an opening that once you start striking the enemy, you will be critting on them because they're in the, I don't know what they refer to the stance, but once you parry them and they're like going back like this, boys, it's time to ring that bell. Ding, 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 ding. You're going to be getting some damage hits in there. So it's really good to start getting used to that system as soon as possible. I'm a big fan of, in games like this, practicing those kind of systems. So if I ever am running through somewhere and I just happen to find like one dude by himself and I've got lots of health, I'm going to sit there for a couple of minutes and just practice parrying them. So once I can actually find someone, I can show you what it actually looks like. But essentially, you try to time your block to just before they strike. And that'll be a parry. And it not only works on melee attacks, but if one of these dudes is standing back throwing a rock at you, you can parry the rock and he somehow gets knocked off balance 10 feet away. I have no idea why that happens, but I absolutely love it as a design choice. But alright, we should be getting to the spot where we find some people here. Gentlemen, where is you? I'm looking for, there we go. There's at least one, buddy. All right, so you're going to see him wind up. Bam! Block right then, knocks him back. Great thing to practice. It works on a lot of things. Bosses will have several attacks that you cannot parry, but they will have a few attacks that you can parry. Ecthyr, for example, when he swinging his, like, yeah, I'm just keep doing it. See how good I am at parrying? But Ecthyr, when he swings his antlers at you, you can block him. It's when he does the charged attack, when he rears up and either does the cone attack or the AoE, that you can't dodge that, so you just need to get away from that man's. But this is the most important thing with combat you could possibly learn, that you could possibly ever learn. Figure out how to do this consistently. Now, it does take stamina. When it blocks, it eats up a little bit of that. So if you're very low on stamina, it's not a good idea to try and use that to deflect damage. It's better to try and actually physically dodge things and get out of town, basically. But yeah, no, parrying is huge. Just block right before something hits you. Bam, you've parried it. And it's huge. It's huge. You need to practice that, and that will save so many lives. So many lives. So yeah, that's pretty much the 5 things that I think are the most important for new players to know as I've gotten through my first 30 to 40 hours of the game. And a little bit after we get this video out, we probably gonna be going live again. We've got to start a new world because my buddy ruined ours last night with admin and commands, so we've got some work to do, and I've got some crying to do. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. We're going to go ahead and call it right there. Thank you so much. You have to catch your boy on the next one because we're getting beat to death. Deuces. Oh, I missed the button.